I texted my dad's bosses about his affair when I was 12, and he's still mad about it 8 years later. I knew my dad was cheating on my mom when I was in 6th grade. They were getting divorced, and I had to spend weekends at his place even though I didn't want to. He was already living with her, the woman he cheated with. They acted like everything was totally normal, and I was just supposed to accept it. One Saturday morning, they both left me alone in the living room to go do yard work. Big mistake. Their phones were sitting right there on the coffee table, charging. I picked up my dad's phone first and scrolled through his contacts until I found his work email. Then I did the same with her phone. I wrote this long message to both their bosses explaining exactly what they did, how they'd been having an affair for over a year, how they destroyed my family, how my mom was crying every single night. I made sure to mention they were both married when it started, sent the messages and put the phones back exactly where they were. My heart was racing, but I felt good about it, like I'd finally done something that mattered. About an hour later, I heard screaming from the kitchen. My dad's girlfriend, I refused to call her my stepmom, came running into the living room holding her phone. Her face was bright red and she was shaking. She started yelling at me, asking what the hell I did. Called me a little piece of crap right to my face. I just sat there on the couch and laughed. I actually laughed in her face while she was screaming. My dad came in and saw her phone. He got really quiet for a minute, then asked me why I would do something like that. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Actions have consequences. You used to tell me that all the time, remember?" He tried to explain that this was different, but I cut him off. I told him I'd tell everyone what he did. His friends, his family, anyone who would listen. They freaked out for weeks after that. Apparently her boss called her in for a meeting and she had to explain the whole situation. My dad's company had some policy about workplace ethics or whatever, and he got written up. They both said I ruined their reputations. After a few months, they told me I couldn't come over anymore unless I apologized. I refused. So I basically didn't see my dad for 4 years, except for maybe twice. Last weekend, my grandparents invited everyone to dinner at this Italian place downtown. They didn't tell me my dad and his wife were coming. As soon as I walked in and saw them sitting there, I almost left. Dinner was super awkward at first. Nobody knew what to say. Then my dad's wife started talking about how I damaged their careers, how people at their jobs still brought it up sometimes, how I owed them a huge apology for what I did as a child. I told her she really didn't want me to answer that question because my opinion of them wasn't very high. She kept pushing though, said I could have cost them everything, and what did I expect them to do? My grandparents told her to drop it, but she wouldn't shut up. She was getting louder and making this whole scene in the restaurant. After like an hour, she demanded an apology again. That's when my grandparents asked both of them to leave, right there in the middle of dinner, said they regretted inviting them in the first place. Most of my aunts and uncles were trying not to laugh. Then my Uncle Mike leaned over and whispered that my dad and his wife have cheated on each other at least 3 times since they got married. They've cheated on each other. The irony is insane. Suddenly everything made sense. Why she shut up so fast when I said she didn't want my opinion. Why my dad looked so uncomfortable. They're both miserable cheaters stuck with each other. One of my aunts said later I should have just apologized to keep the peace. But I'm not sorry. I was 12 years old watching my mom fall apart while my dad played house with his mistress. They got exactly what they deserved.